my name's Bree and I wanted to hop on and do actually my very first video ever and share a couple tips with you guys that I've learned that helped me a lot in my houseplant journey, and hopefully they'll help you guys, and if not, maybe you'll get a few laughs at me and my awkwardness with my first videos, so bear with me. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is pruning, actually. And you know, before when I would think of pruning, I would think outdoor gardening and especially, you know, big trees and whatnot, but there are a lot of our houseplants that can benefit from regular pruning as well. And two of those are these two I've got here. The one on my left is a Tradescantia tricolor, and there's quite a few species of Tradescantia, and I love them. They grow super quickly, and they're super easy to root. And this one here is the same, where it grows super fast and roots super easy, and I'll get into that. But it is a Cassilla repens Bianca, and then I also have a regular Cassilla repens right here that's not the Bianca version. So this is the dark green and purple, and this one has the white and pink variegation as well. So it kind of looks like a miniature version of this guy. And I originally thought that they were a Tradescantia species as well, but they're not. So they are in a different family. But the great thing with these plants is that they are super prolific growers, like way super quick growers, more than anything I've ever had experience with. So they're really great for those of you that, like me, like really instant gratification with your plants and to see it grow and just thrive. These are really good ones for that. A good example is just 2 weeks ago from this plant, I took cuttings about this big and stuck them in the dirt. I've watered it maybe twice in the 2 weeks, and it already looks like this. So it's huge and exploding already. So when I say they're prolific growers, I really mean it. They grow so fast. Originally I got, you know, a tiny little section about like this of cuttings back in March, so it hasn't even been a year, and I've made at least 7 plants from this guy with just cuttings. But the problem was I was lazy with my cuttings and just quickly took them, you know, from the ends and stuck them in a pot. It was usually a friend or family that came into town, and I was sending them home with a plant, and just took quick cuttings from the tips. But the problem there, so the reason you want to prune it is because from everywhere that you cut, it branches a new branch. So you can see with this one, I've cut it in 6 different places, and each one has got a beautiful new little branch coming out, which is awesome for making it look big and full. And like this guy, he hangs up high on my cabinets, so he looks really fun and crazy and like Medusa. I just love it. But what happens is that your roots get very scraggly and quite terrible looking, to be honest. And I am gonna fix up this guy, but he doesn't bother me as much because he hangs up high and I see the bottom part. But this one right here, he really did bother me because he sits in my windowsill, and you couldn't see his pot or the stand or anything. Like, his bottom was so full and crazy and taking over the window, and it looked like there was nothing left in the roots, because as those leaves get older as well, they die off, and then really you're just left with a few stems coming out, and it just doesn't look great. So what I did with him is I actually cut him all the way back to the roots, which sounds scary, but this plant really does well with that, because like I say, everywhere you cut, it's going to branch 1 or 2 new branches out from there. So going all the way to the roots, not only will it survive that, it will thrive, and it's going to grow more and fuller, and from the base you're just going to have an all over better looking plant. And actually everything you see that's green is cuttings that I took and put back in the dirt. It looked like an empty pot, to be honest, because there were so few stems, and cutting it all the way back, it really looked like it wasn't even in there. So, but now this should come back, because all of these will continue to grow, because they go super quick. I mean, it's rooting and growing within a week every time that I've tried it with this plant. So it's another good one that, you know, gives you a good confidence boost with trying to root plants. I, knock on wood, have not even had one fail yet. So that's this guy. Now, moving on, I'm going to show you how I do that. And with this one, why I'm going to is it's really sparse on this side, and then it's got these few long tendrils over here, which I do love that it trails and goes, but like we say, we want it compact as well, and the more you cut it, the more it's going to branch out, and the thicker and fuller it will be from the bottom. And I hear from a lot of people asking questions about how to keep these guys full and nice looking, because they do get scraggly if you don't prune them back, and then you have to remember from where you're pruning. So like I pruned so low that it was kind of making it look lopsided and weird. So you, as scary as it is, you can prune down, and then I actually cut the stems in multiple spots, because then you're just going to get even more fullness out of the plant. So I'll show you how you do that. You always want to sanitize your tools between using them for a lot of reasons, but to protect your plants from any diseases, because you know, it's like cutting into a person. You don't want to cut into someone with a dirty knife. You're going to get infection or disease, or, you know, our plants are very much the same way. You're cutting them and opening up those stems to outside environments. So I just use rubbing alcohol on a cotton ball, super quick and easy, but make sure you always sterilize your tools. It's just, you know, takes a second, and it really does make a difference for your plants. So with this one, I just cut right above the leaf and the node, and then I just, honestly, it's super easy. Just take it and stick that right back in the dirt, and that is it. And it's gonna root super fast, and it's gonna grow full and big and beautiful. It's gonna be great. So that guy, I do that with all my Tradescantia species, and if I'm saying any of these wrong, please don't come after me. Plant names are hard, let's be honest, and most of them I've only ever read. I've never actually heard said aloud, so we're gonna go with what I said, and hopefully it's right, but don't come at me if it's not. So I'll show you here. Again, I'm gonna sanitize between the two plants, because you don't wanna, I mean, hopefully they both seem perfectly healthy, but you never wanna transfer anything or take a chance. So I'm going to cut him again right there at the node, and then this one, hopefully you can see that, has got the two new little cuttings here and there where I had cut it, and it's got little new growth coming in. So what I'm going to do is just going to cut right below both of those, and I'm going to go ahead and insert them back into this plant, because the idea is to cut him down again and make him look fuller. So you can either put these into a different pot and create a whole new plant, or you can just stick it down into this one, and then this plant will look much fuller because it's already starting to look a bit scraggly, as you can see, because I didn't have him in direct light right away, and these guys do like a bit more of a bright light. This one I have sitting in a southeast facing window, and he gets direct sunlight until about 2 o'clock, and then the sun moves to the other side of the house, but he seems to do really well with that, and the pink color comes out a lot more with the direct sunlight versus the regular Calissa repens that I have with no direct sunlight, and he does great. He's filling in super full and bushy, and he's happy. Direct sunlight actually isn't as good for him. I found each plant is different. This is just my experience with these and what I've heard. But he started to scorch in the sun and just never did really well. So he does great in bright and direct light. Same with these, and you'll be able to tell if they need more light. It's similar to succulents and how they stretch. So a really good example actually is this guy right here. Let me just cut him so I can show you. So that's where he was stretching. You can see that he's got a good inch between his leaves, and that was in winter time because this one was cut from this plant before, and so you can see when it was winter and it was getting less light, and that is quite stretched between those, where what you want is a lot closer leaf pattern. So with more direct light, they really grow a little bit more compact and kind of resemble succulents. in how they grow really dense and close together. This is another really good example of that as well, how you can see how it gets closer together there at the top. So these do like more light, but with anything, you know, don't put it in direct sunlight right away. Any plant, it's like if you know it's winter time and you're not used to the sun and you go outside, you're gonna get sunburnt if you just go straight into the sun for 8 hours. You have to acclimate slowly, so you want to move them a little bit each day, and just take it slow. You can either move them into direct light for like 20 minutes, you know, and then up it up, or you can just slowly move it closer and closer to the spot you want it to be. And that's what I do, because I get sidetracked. I'm not going to remember to go take it out of the light in 20 minutes and then I'm going to burn it, let's be honest. So I just slowly move them towards where I want them to be, and they usually acclimate fine that way. And then another thing with these guys for water, I water mine roughly once a week, but I check because obviously however much sun they're getting and the humidity in the house at the time, that's going to vary a little bit, but they are a little bit more like succulents in where they don't love a ton of water or to stay wet. So I tend to make sure, you know, I lift my pot, and like right now it's heavy because watering day was just a couple days ago. But once it's really dried out is when I water it again, and they seem to do the best with that. If not, you'll get a lot of yellowing leaves at the base and rotting leaves, so that's when you know there's too much water or too little light as well. So you just want to watch out for that. But again, these are great species, especially for beginners. I feel like they're super easy, super forgiving, and even if the base is dying off, you can just take cuttings of the tips and put them in a new plant and try again. They're super great, and like I said, again, really fun to watch just grow super quickly and explode. So they're really fun. Hopefully that helped you guys a little bit and it wasn't too long and crazy. I appreciate you bearing with me. If you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate it, and I hope this helps you guys, and you have a wonderful day. Thanks.